morning everyone. This is Parveen. Today we are on the last and fourth session of class 10th civics chapter 1 power sharing. In our last videos we have seen two factual cases of Belgium and Sri Lanka to understand why power sharing is important. We have seen that in Sri Lanka there are two ethnic groups and in Belgium there was two ethnic groups on the basis of language. But in Sri Lanka, when democracy was there, there is a majoritarianism. Sinhala speaking people are in majority, because of which they favored Sinhala speaking people, and there is a discrimination between Tamilians and Sinhala speaking people in Sri Lanka, which creates civil war there. When we talk about the Belgium uses power sharing, due to which there is an equal distribution of power between two ethnic groups, French speaking people and Dutch speaking people, which creates harmony in country and political stability in Belgium. So in both the case studies we have find out the result was that there should be there must be a power sharing to maintain political stability in a country. So now in this particular video we will see that why power sharing is desirable and what are the different forms of power sharing. So now first we will start with why power sharing is desirable, why we need power sharing, why we want power sharing. With the example of Belgium, we have seen that they shared the power into different levels of government: state government, central government and community government. And both in three tiers of government in Belgium they shared equal power with two ethnic groups, that is Dutch speaking people and French speaking people, which creates the harmony, which creates the political stability in Belgium. So over here with that example we will see that why power sharing is desirable. There are two reasons under which we can study why power sharing is desirable. First one is prudential reasons and second one is moral reasons. Now first we will start with prudential reasons. What is prudential reasons of power sharing or need of power sharing? First one is it reduces the chances of conflict between ethnic groups. When power sharing was there, it reduces the conflict between different ethnic groups which are there in a country. Like we have taken an example of Belgium and Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka there are two ethnic groups, Sinhala speaking people and Tamil speaking people. Sinhala speaking people are in majority. When they got independence in 1948, when they started with the democracy, due to majority, Sinhala party belongs to Sinhala speaking people win. And what they have done, there is no power sharing, so they give all the rights and favors to Sinhala speaking people, avoiding Tamilians of Sri Lanka. That is why there was a civil war. But when we took the example of Belgium, in Belgium there are two ethnic groups, French speaking people or Dutch speaking people. Dutch speaking people are in majority, but due to equal power sharing between central, state and community government or a local government, conflict was not there between those two ethnic groups. So Belgium was a very good example which says that if power sharing was there, it reduces the chances of conflict between ethnic groups, because power sharing provides equal political power to both the ethnic groups or to all the ethnic groups which are there in a country. So it is very important to reduce conflict between different ethnic groups who are there in a country. Secondly, it avoids violence and political instability. As we have seen in the case study of Sri Lanka, there was no power sharing, because of which what happens, the majority group got the power and they use that power in their own favor, in the favor of their own group, in the favor of their own interest, and they discriminate between other ethnic group, that is Tamil speaking people in Sri Lanka, because of which what happens, there is a violence, there is a civil war in which many of the Sinhala speaking people and Tamil speaking people were killed. And it also, that is why it says that, or that is why it shows that when we are having a power sharing, it avoids violence and political instability, because in Sri Lanka, due to majoritarianism, Tamil speaking people wanted their independent state. which creates political instability in Sri Lanka. But when we take the example of Belgium, we have seen that due to equal power sharing, there is no political instability and there is no violence. So we can say that power sharing avoids violence and political instability. Now third one is it is an effective way to establish political stability. As we have seen in our second point that it reduces conflict, it reduces or it avoids violence. It gives equal opportunity or equal power to all the ethnic groups in a country. That is why what happens, it is an effective method through which we can establish political stability. Last one, it has a better outcomes. The outcome of a power sharing or the results of a power sharing is better than the result of majoritarianism, or when power is in the one hand, because when power is in one hand, they can misuse the power in the favor of their own community or their own group. But when there is a power sharing, there is no chance of having favorism and there is no chance of getting majoritarianism. So power sharing has a better outcome or better result. So these are the three prudential reasons because of which we say that power sharing is needed or power sharing is desirable. Now second reasons were moral reasons. What are the moral reasons? First one is spirit of democracy. As we all know that democracy means, or a main theme of a democracy, to give equal right or freedom to all the groups or all the communities which are there or all the citizens which are there in a country. And power sharing gives the equal opportunity and equal power to all the ethnic groups in a country. That is why we say that morally it increases the spirit of democracy in a country, because it gives equal opportunity to all the groups. Secondly, we say that people have right to be consulted on how they have to be governed. Power sharing gives people or citizens advantage to choose their own government, to select their own representatives, through which they decide that who can govern them and how they can be governed. So it gives freedom to citizens, or it gives equal opportunities to citizens to choose their own representatives who can govern them. And last one, it is valuable power sharing. Power sharing is very valuable, as we have seen that it reduces conflict, it gives equal opportunity and equal power to all the ethnic groups. It also provides power or right to citizens to choose their own representatives, to choose their own government. So over here, with these prudential reasons and moral reasons, we have seen that power sharing is very much desirable. If you wanted to make our country politically stable, and if you wanted to avoid conflict and violence amongst the different groups or different ethnic groups who are there in our country. Like in India, we are having unity in diversity. We are having so many ethnic groups on the basis of religion, on the basis of language, on the basis of culture and caste. But due to power sharing in India, it avoids conflict between these groups, and it also avoids political instability, because everyone is having an equal right to enjoy. So these are the reasons because of which power sharing is desirable. Now we will see forms of power sharing. There are different forms of power sharing. When we are talking about the power sharing, in different methods or in different ways, our government can share the powers. Now we will see that. First one is power sharing among different organs of the government. Power can be shared between different organs of the government. Organs means different levels of the government, you can say, which is legislature, executive and judiciary. It is also called as federalism. That is division of power. Power is divided between three levels of government. One is legislature, second is executive and third is judiciary. That is the horizontal distribution of power sharing. And it is a system of check and balance. Now why it is called as system of check and balance? As over here we will see that legislature. Legislature means all the ministers who are elected by the people or by the citizens. And these legislatures are having a right to make laws or having a power to make laws. Now these laws can be implemented by executives, who are all the officials who are there in our country. Then to check on legislature and executive and on citizens, there is a judiciary. So over here we can say that legislature is checking out by executive, and legislature and executive both are checked by judiciary. So there is a balance between balance of power between legislature, executive and judiciary. Powers have been divided equally between them, and they also have a power to check on each other. So there is a check and balance situation of power sharing when we are talking about the power sharing among different organs of the government. That is legislature, executive and judiciary. Next form is power sharing among different levels. There are different levels of government, because see in one country they are having different states, different regions, and one government cannot control, or one level of government cannot control or cannot govern the whole country. So to make it easy for the government, power has been divided on 3 levels, which is vertical distribution of power sharing. That is central government, state government and local government. As in Belgium case we have seen, Belgium divides their government into 3 levels, that is central government for the whole country, state government for each states in a country, or local government for each small region or local places in a country. Same way in India we are also having this type of power sharing, where central government is there for the whole country, state government for each state, and local government for each locality or each small region or each small district. It makes work of the government easy to govern the country when the power has been divided into 3 levels, that is central, state and local government, and they are all having equal rights and equal powers on their own level. Now third form is power sharing among different social groups. As we have seen in democracy, people are having a right to create social groups, and when they create social groups, those social groups are also having power. There are different religious and linguistic groups who shares power with each other, who shares rights with each other. Their powers have been reserved in constituencies. Each constituencies there are different social groups, and government give them certain reserved powers which they can equally enjoy, irrespective of their religion or irrespective of their language. Whatever language group, whatever religious group were there, they are having an equal right according to the reserved constituency. Then, like for example, we can take community government in Belgium. Belgium creates community government so that educational, cultural and religious matters can be discussed under this community government, or decisions can be taken by the community government of each area. Now the last one is power sharing among different political parties and pressure groups. There are different political parties and pressure groups in democracy, and those political parties also shares power and pressure groups are also having certain powers. Now when we are talking about the political parties, each political party is having a power or right to set their own ideology. Each political party is having a right to take part in elections, and they also have a right to make a coalition government. Coalition government means both of them can together make a government, which is called as government with alliance. And interest groups influence decision making of political parties or government. So in this particular video we have seen that why power sharing is desirable and what are the different forms of the power sharing. And with this we have completed with this particular chapter. I hope you have understand this chapter. Thank you.